everybody, welcome to Elisa's Art Room. Tonight we are going to be doing a painting. I haven't done a painting in a while. We're going to be painting on a block of wood, and we will be doing a bluebird. Okay, so y'all come in and say hi, let me know you're here. We'll get started on this in just a few minutes. I'm going to pull you guys up on my other devices as we are live right now. There's that one. Oh my goodness. I've reloaded it twice. It's still not showing. Come on. Hey, Dawn. All right, so we're going to paint a bluebird. This will probably take me a couple of lives. It usually does. I haven't painted in a while, so who knows? We'll see how it goes. By a while, I mean I think it's been like 7 months, which is a long break. I don't like to take breaks quite that long, but I don't know. I was having a little bit of a painter's block and decided not to paint. So there's that, but we are going to work on this little bluebird. So this bluebird is a photograph by Timothy Comeaux, and he gave me permission to paint this. So that is our reference photo. And like I said, I'm using this block of wood. I believe it's like 5.5 by 8. Let me see. Yeah, 5.5 by 8. All right, I'm going to go ahead. I don't think there's not a lot to talk about other than I'm using acrylic paints. So Liquitex acrylics is what I'm using. There may be there's some basics in here and possibly a golden or two, but I don't tend to use as much of the golden as the Liquitex. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the camera up top so we can get started on this. Straight. It's pretty straight, I think. I think the distance will be all right. All right, so I've got my block of wood. I've got my reference photo. Like I said, the reference is by Tim Comeaux. And I've got waters, so I keep several waters. One is for the main rinse, and then the second one be for the secondary rinse, and then the third one I keep clean for adding to paint. So that's why I have 3. That's just how I like to work. And then I have my glass palette. This one is this is a New Wave glass palette. You can get these off of Amazon. I assume you can still get them. I got this many, many years ago, but I think they're still available. So we're painting on wood. Now I've went ahead and pre-gessoed this because you need to do your gesso 24 hours in advance before you start painting on it. And I've used a little bit of green and black in my gesso, I tinted it. So it started out as just a white gesso, and I added a little bit of sap green and just a drop of black. I think I just used black gesso for the black. And I just gave it a good base color to start with. I try to pick a color that's in the background as far as tone that I'm going to be doing. And so this is a good closeness to start with. Now I've got this printed on regular coffee paper, and then I've got it on photo paper. And the reason is I like to keep, I like to look at both of them because sometimes the colors are just weird. This one is got the brightest and nicest colors, obviously, but sometimes I can't see the detail for some reason as good as I can with this one. So I always print both and then just use them as I go. And chances are I'll get water on one or the other and mess it up. So this is just a traced image of the line art. I will post the line art and the reference for my VIPs so that you have that. And you want to paint it. And this is just normal tracing paper. Okay, and I like to just trace out the image because it's just faster than drawing it. I can draw it. I don't for my lives because it takes too long, and honestly most of the people I'm dealing with are beginners, and you're probably going to use a tracing when you first start and not draw it out. So I'll just show you that way, and then you can learn to draw as you go. Like, this is me drawing it, so you can see I can draw it. It's just a simple sketch, and I don't worry about all the detail when I'm drawing out an image. It's just to get the outline, and the painting does all the detail. So you really just want to kind of do a sketch. All right, so this is what I have, and we're going to go and start our background. Now, like I said, this is just a base coat. This isn't the color we're going to end up with. So we're going to go with this background, something like this. I think it's pretty. I debated on colors for my background, and I decided I kind of like the way this one looks, so I'm just going to stick with it. Sometimes I change it up a little, sometimes I don't. It just kind of depends. So that's mostly like a sap green, a little bit of black, drop of white maybe for the grays. So that's what we're going to use. I'm going to go ahead and pull out my Mars black. Pull this over a little bit further. I've got my waters here in this bucket. I'm debating on moving it because it takes up so much room. I usually keep them in a bucket so I don't spill them, but they do take up a lot of room on my table, so I'm going to take them out today. I'm more worried about it if I'm dealing with something that's easily damaged, like, you know, papers. So a little bit black. And then we're going to get some sap green. The only sap green I have is golden. Hey Deborah, hey Dorothy, hey Angela. This one's almost empty, but I have another one. Just using up what's left in here. And some titanium white. All right, what else? Anything else? Debating if there's a little bit of another color in there. Let me look at my colors here. I might add just a little bit of, it's not quite raw sienna, but it's close. Maybe a raw umber. I'll put a little bit of raw umber up here. Just stick it there. That happens to be golden too. All right, so we're going to work on this background, and I'm going to do my typical wet brush technique, I think, with my makeup brushes. So a couple of these out. These are just Echo Tools makeup brushes, the big fluffy ones. And you need these dry when you use them. That's why I'm pulling a couple of them. And we want something to put paint on with. I prefer my little rosemary brush. Let me see if it's not over here. I pulled all my brushes back because I haven't been using them. I think I'll use one of these. I think I'm going to try this one. It's a round, it's actually called a domed round, but it's just a round. It happens to be a bristle brush, a hog hair. But just some sort of a soft round or a medium firm round is fine. And I'm going to spritz this with some water to get started. Trying to keep that reference out of the way because I don't want to, oh, I'm really glaring. Hold on. See if I can get that. No, that's just going to glare, isn't it? There's no way to keep it lighted and not glare on that. All right. Oh, pencil fell. Can't turn that one down. I've already got a softener on it and it's just not. See if I can get it off the screen here a little bit. Catch up so I can know if you moved. It's so slow. Oh, okay, it's just not. It's not gonna not glare for me. Really? You're gonna make me go way over there? Can't move it any further. Why is it glaring so bad today? All right, that's about as good as I can get it. Okay, so we're just going to spritz this, just some water, and we're going to start adding some colors. So I'm going to do just some greens and grays. I'm going to do a little bit of a raw umber. Let's wet my brush. So this is the raw umber. Yeah, that's close. It almost has a tint of pink to it, but we're going to try this. So I'm just, oh, that's definitely not thick enough. Hold on. You want it to be thick enough that it's not thin. I'm stingy with my paint. I never put enough out. There, that's better. So we're going to try this. And I'm just going to mix that around, and then I'm going to switch and grab some green and white and maybe a drop of black. We'll see if we can get something of a soft edge on this. It's definitely not thick enough. Trying to work fast because I don't want it to dry. Add a little bit. Oh, I forgot to get a towel. Here, there's one. We'll dirty that one up. Should have got more raw umber out. I feel like it's starting to dry, so. Mike. All right, and where's my makeup brush? So this is very, very, very light touch. Trying to get these lighter colors first, ideally. Okay, That's not too bad. And I'm just wiping it on this wet one and then this dry one just to kind of keep the brush as dry as I can and work with it. I think that's okay. We're going to let that dry. And then I might put one more coat on, just a little thin right now. I don't know. I'm kind of happy with it, but I think I'm going to put one more coat. I'm going to grab me some more of those colors because I didn't get enough out. So, I've got plenty of sap green out. I just don't have enough of that raw umber. Maybe just a drop more white. I haven't painted in so long, guys. It feels odd. Isn't that weird? Just that happens if you don't pick up a brush in a while. I told Dave, I was like, gosh, I haven't painted in close to a year. And he's like, really? Has it been that long? I'm like, I don't know. It's been a long time. So I had to go back and look when I did the hawk, because that was the last one I did. And it was in May. So I was like, wow, it's been like, what, 7 months or so? I'm going to hit this with the blow dryer. Make sure there's nothing I can blow away. Are you glad I'm painting, Priscilla? I'm glad too. I do miss it, honestly, but yeah, just you gotta be in the mood, and I just haven't been. I'm gonna add one more coat because it's a little thin. You can see it's pretty thin. I can still see the base coat through that. So some white and some raw umber. I should be using my palette knife, but I'm not. I'm gonna get this just a little bit thicker this time. And then some more green. Oh, that was black. The sap green and the black, guys. It fools me all the time. That's too much. Hold on. I don't want that much black. It'll be way too dark. Goodness. All right, pull from the sap green. Not the black pile. Drop it black. There we go. And I might make just a little bit darker on one edge here. Give myself a little more variety. My water is filthy. That's why I keep 3 though. Okay, let's try this again. Now the second time I don't like to spritz it if I can get away with it, because I will reactivate this because it hasn't been sitting for very long, and I definitely don't want to reactivate it, so I'm not going to spritz it. We're just going to go into our light colors first, and I'm just kind of doing the same. Look at my reference. I feel like there's a lot of light around the head here. And then some down here. And a little bit over here. And then we'll jump into our green color. More green. Sap green is very translucent, and by adding the other color to it, the black and the white a little bit, it definitely does help on the translucency. It's not quite so translucent. really want this bottom part darker. Mostly because that's how it is in the picture. And maybe just a little up here on this edge. All right, I gotta start working that before it dries. It'll dry fast on you, especially acrylics, and it all depends on how dry your house is too. It does dry fast. My brush is getting too wet. You'll know if it gets too wet because it starts leaving streaks. All right, it's definitely not as soft as I want it. All right, let me rinse this brush out a little bit that got dirty on me. I've rinsed just the tips of it, and then I'm drying it really well. I might come back to it in a minute, but this one should be good. It's not terrible. Still, like, it's not quite where I want it. I might have to mist it, guys. It's just keeping it wet enough. But you gotta dry it in between. This one hasn't been opened. Oh yeah, that's not opening. Goodness gracious. Hold on, I need my pokey tool. See if I can get this guy to open. I only have this issue with these golden tubes. It's upgrade, right? Okay. There it goes. I think it's just because they're a metal. Do I have enough raw umber? Maybe. Where'd it go? There it is. Maybe enough. Okay, let's try this again. It's not soft enough. I want it softer than that. All right, got my rags here. Can you even see that rag pile? Probably not. Let me see if I can pull it over a little. So you can kind of tell what I'm doing. All right, so back into our raw umber and our white. Oops, don't get on my rag. And I'm going to spritz it and hope it doesn't reactivate too much. I do have a really fine mister, so it's not too bad. It's drying out too much. Green, a little bit of white, top of black. Maybe more black on that. I think I'll try adding a little more of that umber color. It's hard to work fast and switch between colors too. That can be a little challenging. All right, do I want that area? Oops, I did it again. Grab the wrong one. Come on, darken. Oh, that went too far. Oh, well, it's fine. Hopefully. Just want a little bit darker. All right, I gotta work fast fast and start drying this with my brush. All right, it's still wet. I think so. This is a technique that I don't remember who I first saw do this. Possibly Felix K. He's an artist I watch sometimes. He might have been the first person I saw do this, but I really like this technique a lot. If you can get it to cooperate, it makes it really soft. Let's see, it's trying to pick up on me. All right, I'm liking this. This is getting there, I think. I will have the bird in some of these spots, so it's not as big of a deal. All right, I think I'm okay with that. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I think that is good enough. And if it's a little bit darker than this background, but I'm okay with it being a little darker. Up in here, I think the blue will still look good against that. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure it'll look okay. All right, let me just wash this brush out good. My poor rag. Very dirty. All right, put that there. Run out of space. Put that there. All right, let's clean these just a little bit. I don't like to let the paint sit on these, so I just try to clean just the tips of them, so I'm not soaking the whole brush. And then I'll clean it properly later. But for right now, I just want to clean just the tips. And whatever you do, do not do it over your surface, because if a little bit of water there drips on that, you will have a white spot, because it will go right back down to the original finish. So, and if that happens, you're going to have to completely dry it and try painting the whole thing over, because it's almost impossible to get those little water drip spots off. Okay, we're going to clean up this palette a little bit. It's not wet enough. Grab a paper towel. I'm just going to clean up anything that is too thin, and it will start drying. I usually leave whatever I'm working with just because I might continue working with the color, but if it's too dry, take it off, because it will definitely start flaking everywhere. We don't want flakes everywhere. All right. Little piece right there. It's pretty dry. All right, I think we are good. Good to go. And these wipes that I use are water wipes. They don't have any chemicals in them, so I don't have to worry about adding anything to my paint if I touch it. Oh my goodness. I didn't mean to grab that much of it. I just meant to catch the edge of it. Come on. There we go. All right. That over there. Paint on my hand. Let's see if I can get that off before I touch something I shouldn't. Okay. Splashed it. All right. So we gotta dry this completely, and then we're going to trace out our image. So let me get the blow dryer. Priscilla, I got this glass palette off of Amazon. It's in my favorites list. I have an Amazon favorites list that's in the description on my page. If you're looking at my Facebook page, at the very, very top is a Amazon link, and it's just my favorites. I'm not an affiliate or anything, but you can click on that and it is in there. It's a what'd I say? New Wave. They're not cheap. I feel like it was in the 40s when I bought it, somewhere like that. But I've had it for many, many, many years, and it should last you indefinitely. Okay, and it's much safer because it's tempered and you don't have to worry. I've seen people use like glass frames. Please don't do that. That's so super dangerous because they're not a tempered glass, and it can shatter and really hurt you. All right, so we're going to put this image on with a chalk pencil. You can use graphite paper, you can use chalk pencils, it's up to you. I like using chalk pencils for some reason. I started out with graphite papers and I just never really liked them that much. But I do have some. Royal Langnickel's a good one. This one I just got at Hobby Lobby, but I do sometimes use the graphite paper. Either works, but chalk pencils, I just think it's easier. I don't know. And chalk pencils typically I get them from Hobby Lobby, but you can get them just about anywhere. You can buy them in a set. I've bought them in this large set before. They're General's, boy that's testy. This General's pastel chalk pencils comes in several colors. I don't know if there's a white. Yeah, there's a white in there, I think. Yeah, there is. But you can also get just a set of white and black or just white. Which white is what I use more than anything, honestly. So you get your image and you want to go on the back side of it. And we're just worried about the outline. All this other stuff that I've traced on here is just to remind me direction of the feathers. Because direction, when you're painting animals, the direction of fur or feathers is extremely important. If you have the direction wrong, it will not look right. So of all the things you concentrate on, make sure that the direction. I don't know if I want to do that stick yet. I think I'll add it. I don't know. I might lightly do it, but I'm just going to paint over it probably. I'm not going to bother with that one yet. But that's what all these other marks are for. I won't trace them out or anything, or draw them out. I do like to get my eye placement right. And my beak placement. So that's all you gotta do. Let's put one little spot there. And I've cut this. I tried to cut it to the size of my piece of wood. It was a little short, so I know that it needs to line up at the bottom to be in the right spot. And you can tape it. If you do tape it, just be careful pulling it off because it will tear the tracing paper. But I'm going to tape it. Like I said, it's flush with the sides of the wood. And then not flush on the top because I didn't cut it that size. That's just me. All right, and then you just need a embossing tool. This is a stylus. It has a large ball on one side, small on the other side. I tend to like the large. It doesn't eat into the wood as much. You can get these all over the place. I've seen them even at the Dollar Tree. I have one from this little Fiskars one most. And you just trace your image. Now, for feathers, I tend to make sure I stay on the inside because the feathers are going to come out just a little bit past that line. So you don't want to go too far outside of your line. And this is mostly a guide. I don't really worry too much about where this is and if it's absolutely exact, because it's the painting that's going to make it exact, not the lines. Get this little beak in the right spot, hopefully. I don't know if I did that spot. I don't think I did. Let's do the eye. Okay, and then you can just take a peek, kind of like you do with stenciling, and see if you got everything you want. Okay, we might do a light spot there. I think I got everything. All right. And then, like I said, just if you tear this off gently, you won't destroy your tracing paper. Just don't go fast. That's where you can mess up. If you go too fast, it'll rip it. Because you may need it for reference later as you're working. All right, so that is our start. And then we want to look at our undertones on this bird. Okay, so for this particular bird, there's going to be different undertones because it's a multicolored bird. So, the areas in this area with this grayish color, you're going to want to get the darkest kind of gray that you see under there, because you want your lighter feathers to go on top of that. Okay, so we'll want like a dark color there. And then where these blues are, maybe like a deeper kind of maybe indigo-ish looking blue in there. And then same thing here, even though this looks very, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit for you. Let me see, I need to make sure I stay in screen. Gotta move everything to the left here. There. Don't think I'm glaring. In this area, there's a lot of dark colors under there. And you want to make sure that that's your base color, not this white color. A lot of people will look at this and go like, oh, I need that white color there. No, you need to look at the deepest color that you see in there, and that's your base. Okay, and then on this orange area, we'll do, it's kind of orange, orangish red. This very kind of orange burnt umber-ish color. It's almost a red oxide or a burnt sienna. Maybe burnt sienna. We'll try burnt sienna, I think. So we're going to put some of these colors down, and we're going to work on our base coats. So burnt sienna, we'll need more black, but I've got plenty on my palette already. And we'll need a little bit of white. Might have enough on my palette, but we're going to add just a drop more. I don't think you can still see me. Try not to zoom so far that you can't see the palette. And then, so that's going to be a kind of a grayish blue. I think I will use phthalo blue. Let me see. Debate if I want phthalo blue or if I want brilliant or cerulean. It's a very bright blue. I tend to go with phthalo, but it's really close to this cerulean, I guess, cerulean. I can't pronounce these things. I don't think brilliant blue. I rarely use my brilliant blue. I'm going to look at the phthalo blue. This is phthalocyanine blue, Phthalocyanine. It's a big word. Phthalocyanine. beautiful blue. This is probably my go-to blue. That's why it's empty. It's one I use the most, but this one's, yeah, it's got too much white in it. A little too much white. So I don't like that one. So we're going to stick with that rich blue there. We will tone it down, but we're going to start with that. So we're going to add a little bit of black to it, and probably a little bit of, I want to tone it down, but I don't know if I want to use white. What could I use? Not quite yellow, it'll go to green. Maybe I'll try to mix that blue in there. Let me look at this brilliant blue. Oh, that's got a lot of white. Oh, it's the same one. Where'd the other one go? There it is. I'm going to stick this down here. I want to play with this blue and see what I get first. I think that's not going to work, but we're going to try it. Let's see. That might not be bad. So this cerulean blue is good for lightening up this blue, so it's not so dark. If I just add white to it, it'll work. It'll go. I don't know how to explain it. It goes madder looking. So just a tiny bit of white. And then this blue. We'll see if we can get kind of close. It's not too bad. You just got to make sure you don't add too much white. You go too far on the white and it definitely will mess it up. That's not too bad. But I do like that too. So either way is okay as long as you don't add too much white. So that's not too bad. And then it'll just, the top feathers will be definitely lighter, but these are the dark undertones. I'm kind of liking the mixture of this blue. And so I'm probably going to use that. I do need a lot more paint though. I tend to not put out very much and then add more if I need to. But I'm really notorious for not using enough paint and my paint not being thick enough. So try not to be too stingy with your paint. It's easy to do. Paints are expensive, guys. I'm not gonna lie, they are expensive, and sometimes you get a little too frugal. All right, so there's that. This color is nice, I think, for this undertone. I'm not sure how translucent it's going to be. If it's too translucent, I'll add a drop of black to it or something. Maybe a red. Maybe a burnt umber. Let me look at my burnt umber. We'll put a little burnt umber on here. I'm just going to squeeze that. Just a little bit, because I might need to darken that. I don't really want to change the tone of it. I kind of like the tone. And then we can make a gray easy. And that's a very raw umberish. So we've already got on here, I think, enough of that color. So we're just going to try to get these colors in here, and you can kind of just, you know, guesstimate where you want them to change. You can trace it too if you want, but it shouldn't be necessary. Just a little bit more blue here. Something like that. And that's pretty much all blue. So we're going to work on getting our colors down. Let's make that gray color just because I don't want to worry about it after. This is for, I think, the head. I'm going to add a little blue to it. We got way too much black in there. Let's add a drop of... let's add a drop of this phthalo. I need more white. There we go. Is that close enough? It's darker than you think. It needs to go darker than that. Probably much darker than I think all the time. That's just the way it goes. Darken that up a fraction more. This is kind of a bluish gray. That's better. I think I like that. You got to make sure you get your darks dark enough, because if you don't, your lights won't show up. That's what happens. And I'm really underestimated the darkness of that. It's a lot darker than I thought. Same thing right through there, I think. Is that on camera? Yeah. A lot darker than I thought it was. Now, it will dry slightly darker than what you see when it's wet. So do keep that in mind. I just keep adding until I think it looks right. Trying to keep in mind that it will dry a little bit darker. It almost went green on me. I think I grabbed a little of that sap green, but that's okay. It's just an undertone. I'm not going to freak about it. And I want a little darker area right through there, so I'm going to just add a little bit to some of this. Just to that bottom half there. That should be plenty. And then our blue, I think we're okay with. Something of a mixture of these. It doesn't even, we're just going to grab a bunch of it. So I got a lot of, well, a decent amount of blue, I guess. Not too much, but that, and I don't think I need any black in it. It's pretty dark. I'm going to put a tiny bit of black on part of it. This bottom half, because there are some dark tones in a couple of areas. Alright. And then our red, like I said, I think that's pretty close. I'm going to move it though, because it's in a bad spot. Move it down here. That's too close to all my other colors. I'll be mixing in the wrong colors. This is the problem with this tight space. Let's see if I got you guys in camera. Is it there? Yeah, I think I got it. Okay. And just a drop of this burnt umber to half of it. I'm not sure if I'll need it, but yeah, that's probably about right. Okay, I think we got them mixed up. What time is it? All right, we're okay. So for this, I'm just going to use a flat of some sort, I think. Well, a filbert. I'll use a filbert. If I can find a decent filbert here. I haven't used all these in so long. What's this one? Filbert grass comb. I'm going to put a thicker coat than that. Let's just use a normal filbert. Do I got a white one? Surely I have one in here somewhere. Maybe. My brushes, I think are spread out all over the house right now. That's what happens when you're not painting in a while. You kind of put everything in the back burner. That size filbert maybe. Maybe that one. Okay, so some sort of a smaller filbert. Filbert is just rounded at the top instead of flat across. This is just a inexpensive Craft Smart. It works fine. Kind of depends on how small the area is you're working in, if you can use that one or not. I'll use this in the bigger, but like up through here, I'll want the smaller one. All right, now I am going to spritz my paints because they are acrylics and they will start drying out on you. So every now and then, just keep your fine mister. This fine mister I got off of Amazon. It's gray, Priscilla. My palette is gray. Gray tends to show your color tones more realistically than white. All right, I'm going to start with the gray background colors. So we're just going to put some of this through here. Need to be darker, guys. It's not dark enough. I'm going to darken it up. There, that's better. And I don't care if it has those tones from where I'm just grabbing paint. That's fine. It'll just add to it. I'm just going to try to get, there's a little bit through here. And it doesn't have to be exactly in the right spot because we'll fix that when we do our top coat. I'm just going to lighten this one area up a little bit on this side. Not much, just a fraction. And I am going the direction of my feathers, okay? This is why I have this. This is my direction. When you look at your painting or your photo reference, whatever it is, look at the direction of things, okay? And as you're doing all of your strokes, whether it's underneath, on top, whatever, always put them in that direction, okay? And it really, really helps with your final piece. Okay, so that is fine. I'm gonna rinse that out a little bit. And a little more than that. Goodness. I'm gonna grab, I want some blue. That's really got a lot of blue tones. Well, that area doesn't. I'm gonna use this darker, even darker than that, I think. It's very dark right around the eye here. This brush stroke for this part is kind of up. It's kind of like up like that, like a backwards C. And then this part is sideways. This brush is loose. I'm gonna have to glue it. It's probably old. Who knows how long I've had it. Sometimes they fall off. The more inexpensive brushes, sometimes the ferrules get loose, and I just glue them back on with a little bit of E6000 and let them dry, and then they're fine again. But sometimes they do fall off on you. A little bit through here. You can see I'm changing my direction. It's a little close here, but that's okay. I can paint over anything that I go out of line with. It's just undertones. All right, I'm gonna put a little right there. If I can get it small enough with this brush, I think I can. Just a little right there. And I could go ahead and do the eye round, I guess. The beak can be this gray color too. It's almost more black, but we're going to do this. This is pretty dark. I am going to try to leave that line a little bit. I really need a smaller brush, but I think I'm okay. It's close. Close enough. All right, and then a little darker color just at the top here. It's very dark through here. I'll do the eye in more of a solid black. All right, that's pretty good. I might put just a little bit of this gray color just through here, kind of a little bit, and then I'm gonna go over it in blue. Just because I want to kind of have a few dark tones peeking through. Like on the edges of wings, in between the wings, there's going to be little bits of dark that might peek through. I ended up needing that gray a whole lot darker than I thought originally. So I'm just kind of looking at it and seeing where I think that might be helpful. Still going with the right feather direction. So maybe about that much. I'll put a little bit right through here where it attaches to the other part, because there's going to be a shadow there. Just a little fraction more right there. And I'm going to add a little bit of brown, a little more black. So I added some burnt umber and some black because this is really kind of brownish down here. I'm just adding that one corner there. Still going the same direction. I think we are good. We'll add our, the group. Yeah, let's add the blues first. The blues are underneath, at least that one area. Let's add the blues. Just get my, I think I want the bigger brush. Let's rinse that out. Don't leave paint in your brush, guys, and don't leave your brush sitting in water. It'll destroy them a lot faster than you want. Okay, so what did I say? Blue. Let's do blue. Okay, so I might have to spritz that. It's drying fast. Okay, there. So we want our blue undertones. Pretty dark blue, because we need the lights to show up later. Now your wood may have a little texture to it, but don't worry about it. That just adds to the effect. I'm trying not to go too close to my outline because, like I said, sometimes the feathers come over that edge. So I'm going to stay just on the inside of it if I can. And I'll fix that later to where it's more accurate. Alright, that's pretty good. I like that color. Let's put a little of this on the head. Some through here. Now, this part particularly, what I just said, I don't want to go outside that line too much because I'm going to have little feathers that go outside that line. And right now I'm not putting those, so stay inside the line. Otherwise it'll just get fatter and fatter and it won't look right. Alright, so we're just going to go there. Put blue there. Almost need a smaller brush. I might have to grab a smaller brush. It's a little too big. I had that other one out for a reason. I forgot to switch to the bigger one. Alright, let's see. Maybe a little smaller than that. We'll just grab, what do we got here? Here's a small filbert. I'm going to have to turn this because I can't paint that angle. So, keeping my brush stroke the right way. Let's see. I think that's pretty close. Everything on top of this is what will make it look right. The undertones are just undertones. Don't worry about it. Call it the ugly layer. There's always an ugly layer when you're painting, guys. Don't freak out about it because it does scare you sometimes. You're like, oh, that's awful, and people want to quit, and it's like, no. There's almost always going to be what I call an ugly layer. it is what it is. I'm gonna put a little bit of blue tone in this, just a fraction under this beak. Just so that bottom little piece there. I want it to be just a bit darker. All right, let's see. Should I put any blue in there? Maybe just a little. Just a bit of a hint of blue right there, maybe. Maybe some right there. Okay, let's do our orange color. I'll go back to this bigger one. Let me see, is that wet enough? Spritz, spritz, spritz. Okay. Now we want our orange layer. So there's a lot of direction going on here. Just make sure you pay attention. So we got turns this way, turns this way. This is a little big right there, but that's okay. I'll come back over it with the small one in a second. This is translucent. It's very translucent. I might have to add more burnt umber to it. Some colors are very translucent just by nature. And sap green's one of those. And this color that I'm using right now is one of those. Which is, what was it? It was something. It wasn't burnt sienna. What was it? Raw sienna? Maybe? I'm trying to remember. No. It was burnt sienna. It tends to be just a little translucent. I don't know why. It's not, the bottle says it's not translucent, but I find it translucent. It says it's opaque, but it's not. I don't care what they say, it's definitely not. So I'm just keeping my strokes ideally the way they should go. It is very, very, very important. I know I stress that a lot, and it's just because it's just so important. Okay, I'm going to let that dry and put one more coat because it's just a little thin. Hit it with the blow dryer. Oh. And I jumped in with a fairly easy one. This is actually a relatively easy painting, just because I haven't painted in so long. I figured I'd ease myself back in. All right, let me look at that tone. I don't really want to go much darker than that, so I'm just going to add another layer. Where did that brush go? Let's switch to the medium one, I think. Just because I can play with the feathers a little bit more. I like the texture, so I like to having all these little layers of where you've kept your brush strokes correct and everything really adds to it looking realistic in the end. Because it all shows, especially with paints, just all these little lines show. I'm going to hit this edge from a different angle in a second because it's too, I can't go from the inside out on that edge. I need to go the other direction. Okay, you can see it starting to take shape. And this is a heavy body acrylic, so it's a little bit thicker than the basics. At least a lot of these I'm using. Some of this is basic. Actually, this burr number might be basic. It is a basic. It's still pretty thick. They're considered student grade, the basics. Of the student grade paints I've used, these are definitely one of the best. They're very good quality for a student grade. But I do use a lot of the heavy bodies too. Okay, so I'm going to switch my direction. If you need to keep your reference in a way that you can see the direction so you don't forget, just do that. Just turn it with it. All right, so I just want to get this edge just a little closer. I'm not putting the outside feathers yet. I will do that last. I do want it just a little bit closer. It gets up into that blue a little bit. See if I can get it with this tiny little brush here. I'm just going to put a little bit up in there. Okay, I like that, I think. That's good. Just a little further up there. I think we are okay for our base colors. Alright, let's go ahead and do his eye. And I'm not going to probably finish this tonight. I could, but I'd have to probably stay past 11. I don't want to stay past 11. It's a little long. I will do this probably in 2 sittings, which is quick. I have paintings I've done that have taken 11 sittings, so 2 is quick for me. But I'm guessing this will be a 2 sitting. I'm debating if that's small enough. I think I'll use a round. Use this little bushy round. Just grab some black. And I'm gonna try to get that circle. I'm debating if I can stick my hand there. I didn't dry it, so you can't rest your hand. I'm just gonna try and stay inside the circle. Actually, I might debate. No, I'll lighten it up later. I'm not going to lighten it right now. I'm actually not going to even worry about the pupil probably because, I don't know. Let me see if I can put a little blue or something in there to change it just a fraction, but chances are I won't be able to see the pupil. Honestly, the pupil on this bird is very difficult to see. It is there, but it is very hard to see. And I'll be adding highlights and stuff later. And a little bit of a ring around this. We're just going to go ahead and get this in here. A little bit of pure black. Like I said, I don't know if I'll be able to see this pupil or not. But as I enhance the layers, it'll show up a little bit more, for sure. Just a tiny bit more. Maybe if it needs to be any bigger or not, maybe just a fraction. screen flashed. I couldn't tell what happened. It sometimes will flash and say reloading, and it's like, okay, did I freeze? All right, I like that size. I don't want to go any bigger than that, so we're going to leave that like that. All these chalk lines will either be painted over or erased as we go, one or the other. The outside ones will end up being erased. And I think I'm okay on that beak. Debating if I want any more color on the edge. I'm a little bit low. Let's do a little bit of that burnt umber and black. It's pretty dark, but it's not quite black. It's almost more brown. Just rolling my brush. Hopefully y'all can see that. I'm just going to try and get this beak a little more accurate. Good. A little bit of a ring around there. I'm just going to hint at it. I'll fix the detail of it later. Most birds have a little bit of a ring around their eye. All right, I think that's pretty good. All right, that's a good base coat. What time is it? 10:15? I might start on some feathers. I'm tired today. I don't want to jump too far in because I am tired. And I don't want to... When I'm tired, I don't paint as well. Okay, so you can use just a straight liner brush. This is a Royal Langnickel 5.0, which is one of my finer liners. It doesn't look like it because it's old, but it's a fine liner. Okay, and then I also have this Moderna Royal Langnickel, and this is a 10.0. I like, these are my two favorite liners that I like. Both work well. The main difference is the 10.0 is a little bit finer and it's shorter, so you have more control. The longer liner brushes are meant for script lining, and you don't have quite as much control, I find. And then you can also use like a grass comb or a rake comb. I'll show you what that is, if you can find them. This is a filbert grass. Let's see if I can find a piece of paper. So I'm going to show you what it does. Okay, so grass comb, it gives you a lot of separation in your stroke. You see that separation at the end there? So it's very feather or furish. It works real well. If you like that kind of a shortcut. Not everybody does. Some people like to just use a liner. I do both. I often do both. I have a couple of different versions of that, a couple of different brands. This filbert rake is much more pointy, so it works similar but different because it's definitely pointy. See how much it's got a lot more point to it. Okay. So something like that's fun to use. I have many different ones in here floating around somewhere. They're buried. This little filbert, this one's called a filbert grainer by Princeton. I got this one at Hobby Lobby. It's just a lot bigger. I'm kind of just showing you for anyone who's new, who hasn't watched me paint, some of these different brushes. This is great for fur, feathers. It might be a little big for this. I could probably use it for some of it, but it's a little on the large side. And I had another brand. I think I had a Royal Langnickel in here. Oh yeah, I had these. These are a little, they work good sometimes. It kind of depends on what you want, guys. You'll have to play with them and see what you like best, because not everybody's going to like the same kind of brush. But these are similar, except they got a much more bigger separation. Okay, separation's a lot bigger. Okay, you don't get a lot of stroke out of them because they just don't hold a lot of paint in general. But you get the idea. Okay, so those are your rakes or your filberts, sometimes grainers. Those are the names that you'll find those under. All right. So let's see. But you can also just use your liner brush. It's fine too. I'm getting paint on here already. I think I want to do, it's kind of confusing. This orange is underneath this area, but this is on top. So you kind of have to think both ways, and that's a little confusing, but let's see. We're going to add, I don't know if I want that one. I think I want to try, where'd that one go? This one's a little big. Do I have a 1/4 inch? I need like an eighth inch. I'm not seeing one. I probably have one, it's just I can't find it. What's that one? Oh, that's a flat. I don't tend to like the flats because they give a different look. So when you're looking for it, make sure you get a filbert. A filbert grainer is a much different look than a flat grainer or a rake. You don't want the flat. All right, let's just try that first one I had. Where is it? This one. All right, I'm just going to add a little bit of feathers through there. So we're going to add some white to this brown. Not a lot, but a little bit. Hey, Marilyn. All right, I'm trying to find my palette knife. There it is. A little bit of white. So we're just going to start lightening up colors a little bit. Not a lot. Go slow. You can always add lighter colors, but it's harder to go the other direction. I put white in that. Started to mix with my brush. Don't mix with these little brushes. You mess them up. I'm running out of room, guys. All right, so we're just going to add some feather strokes through here. Now, you want to keep these feather strokes as separate as you can, because as you add each layer, it's going to start to go together, and we don't want it to go together. We want it to stay apart. So kind of look at your picture and see if there's areas that have particular shapes or a line of feathers, particular, you know, sometimes they do. Sometimes they have a very, very specific shape to them. I'm going to see if this is too light. adding some feathers. And watching my direction. It's a little bit light. It's a fraction too light, I think. Go a little bit darker. So I don't want to get rid of all of those lovely little undertones. So you do have to be careful. Just don't get rid of too many of your undertones or you'll be having to add them back. You can add them back, but it's, you know, it's not ideal. I still want to get under there with some of that white because this orange is over the top there. I'm just going to put a little bit of this. Watch my direction. I can't see. I got too much glare. Hopefully y'all don't have too much glare. I'm turning my direction because it's easier for me to do my strokes in a particular direction. I don't know why, that's just me. I'm sure you will find the same thing and you just have to figure out what works for you. Well, this doesn't look like much of a change right there, but it shows. Trust me. It will show. It's just subtle at first. I take my time because I do more realistic paint, but if you're doing a more of an abstract-y look, you don't have to be this detailed. You can be a little looser. And just add a few feathers here and there. I'm trying to get my direction turning here a little bit. Turns this more downward. So much brown in that one. The print is just not near as good. Works better on photo paper for sure. When y'all are printing out your references, it's so much better. So this area through here is kind of smooth, so I'm going to try to keep it smooth. And then it's got that little wing behind there that sticks out. I went just a fraction too light to start with. That's okay, I can fix it. I'm not ready to go that light. I go light very slowly if possible. Let's get some through here. I don't know who's down there making noise. I guess my daughter. She must be getting her food finally. She's eating so late. I fixed chili in the crock pot so that everybody could just get it whenever they needed to. We're an odd family. We all keep different hours. Everybody has different hours. I think Dave's at work still. All right, let's see. What do we got there? It's kind of smooth, but it's got a little couple of pieces that stick out. So we'll put just a little bit of a hint of a couple pieces stick out. And then where that blue starts, it sticks out a lot more. But it's almost completely smooth there. All right, and then let's see. Right here. Trying to see where it hits on that wing. Kind of like that. It's all about just painting what you see in reality. I mean, I think that just takes a little time. You'll learn to do it, but it does take time to learn to see it. And the more you practice, the better you'll get. And a hint is paint for a little while and take a snapshot of what you've painted, and then look at the snapshot, because you will see things that you don't see as you're painting. I'm not usually able to do that as I'm painting, because I'm usually painting live, but a lot of times, it's too dark, or too light, I mean. A lot of times I will come back and I'll take a picture afterwards to post, and I'll be like, oh, I didn't even see that. And I'll be so frustrated. It's like, why didn't I see that? It's so obvious now. But it's not obvious a lot of times until you take a picture of it. I don't know why, but it does stick out more. There's a lot of changes in direction going on here. So I'm trying to watch them. And there are some layers. So there's like lines. Do you see those? They're very subtle, but there's lines with a little bit of dark in between. And so those are the things you look for when you're doing realism, is you try to get those subtle line changes with the gaps in between and stuff like that. Oh gosh, the hardest one I think I ever did was a koala. Its fur it had so many changes. Right now I'm just kind of hinting at it. We're not quite to the detail part, but we're under layers of the detail part, and they still count. But do you see how it's starting to shape just by getting those in the right direction? Oh my goodness, Kiba. Somebody's not happy. I hope he doesn't have a hairball, or I will be cleaning that up. Sometimes he just, I don't know, he makes that noise when he's lonely, but sometimes it's a hairball. And you never know which it is. Get that direction there. Okay. I want to get some of that blue under there first before I put too much work there. I think I'm a little bit further out right here. I'll probably make that dark area stick out just a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and add that real quick. What was that? Like a brownish, is that? It's kind of gray, I guess. Gray blue. Just put that back in there. I lost a lot of it. Can't tell where that is. It's about, it should be about right there. Just want that wing to peek out a little bit better. About there. It's a tiny bit fatter right here. You can use these little filberts on their sides and they work real well for getting little detail lines sometimes. Okay. Let's do this blue area. What time is it? I'm trying to watch my time. Add a little bit of white to our blue. Just a drop. I don't want to go too far, too fast. And that's real easy to do. I think that's about right. Alright. So, let's think about how these feathers go. There's a lot of lines on these. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's like 6 rows there. Did I trace them? Roughly. It's okay, we're just gonna go for it. So there's one feather here. Is it just above that twig? It's just above that twig. So there's one right here. The bigger one. And then there's a little one there. I just kind of want to hint at where it is. It's a little bit lighter than I want. All right, let's see. I need more room. I really need to clean my palette, and I haven't done it, so we're just going to deal. So we're going to try to get these lines started. So 1, they don't have to be absolutely perfect yet, because we can fine-tune them later. But I do want them not to be too light. So 1, 2, 3. I need more water. There's also a separation right here. It's about right here. So I'm just going to try to separate that. I'll do it with brown, because there's actually a little bit of brown there. I think. Trying to get close. Hinting at these. There's like a little row of brown feathers there. Can you see that? Is that on camera? Yeah. Okay. Just a tiny little row. I don't want it strong, but I want to know where it is, because it's going to affect what I'm doing. Because that's my stopping point for this first row of feathers. This first row comes off that little feather I drew. And they come off of it, and they stop at that brown spot, and they go above it. And then the bottom ones start at that brown spot there and come down. 1, 2, 3, 4. I need more paint. There's a little bump there, right about here, I think. Something like that. Can you? I don't know how detailed that is. It's very hard to see. Let me see if I can. I'm pretty zoomed in. I can't zoom much further on my iPad. My iPad's all the way in. But I'm just kind of, I'm very, very, very subtly trying to kind of show these, just where these little feather strokes are, and then I'll fix them up later with more detail, but for right now I'm just kind of defining them. Alright, this needs to be lighter. Just add a little bit of light, not too much. So this one kind of goes like this. About like that. And then there's the brown, and then behind that is the other. There's going to be a stick here, but we don't have the stick yet, so. More water. I really need to clean my palette, guys. I'm running out of spots. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. About 6 or so. So like I said, there's that one feather. Well, there's 2 feathers right here. There's one here and there's one here. And then there's little bitty lines past that. And that's what I'm doing now, is those little bitty long lines. Like, I'm not trying to be absolutely perfect, but I gotta hint at them. If I don't hint at them, it won't look right. And honestly, just even this, just having the stroke there does help. Outside just a little bit. Clean that. I don't want to go that far out. Okay. And then let's see what goes on there. A bit of a bump, kind of sort of here. Try to get these feathers up and under there a little bit, and then we're going to come back over with that brown. We're still way, way light, or way, way dark, so we'll be going lots lighter, but not yet. Where did that feather go? There it is. It's like here. Okay, I can see it, as long as I can see it. And this one's kind of Alright, it's just the undertones. They're there. I can see them. Let's do the head just a little bit the same way. Tiny bit more white. Alright, we're gonna go up there. Oh, I gotta turn this way. I can't do it upside down. Oops, don't set your painting in there. Alright, it's definitely gonna have to be darker. Grab some black. Let's see if I can darken the sky up. I gotta get it at an angle it's not glaring on me. I'm just trying to get these teeny tiny outside feathers hinted there. Too many. of those singular. Wow, that's not got enough paint on it. About like that. That's good enough, I think. There are parts of this that are very flat, but there are parts of it that definitely the texture sticks out, so try and get that in there. And any of that white that's on there, I can erase later once this is dry. I'm just using this little filbert to get that edge. You just gotta make sure you flatten it somewhere on your palette and make sure there's no water running down it, because water running down it will get you. Anytime you rinse your brush, always kind of either dip it on your hand or on a paper towel or a rag or something. It needs to be just a fraction darker. It's mostly smooth, but it does have a couple little pieces that stick out. So I'm trying to get those in there. I'm holding my breath. I always hold my breath. All right, that's good. Let's go a little bit lighter. We'll do a little bit of these feathers, and I'm probably going to call it quits for tonight. Just going to add a tiny bit of texture here. Just a couple of little loose feathers. This is what I would call my medium blue layer. Definitely not as light as it's going to go. Okay, and try to get this one feather. I think it's about there. This one is. I'm talking to myself. Kind of guessing where that is, but I think it's close. Just wanted to be above that stick. Yeah, I think that's where it wants to be. And it's a little light, but I'll fix it later because it doesn't matter right now. All right, it's just to tell me where it is because those two are kind of important for detail. All right, I think that's all the detail I'm going to worry about right now. We will continue on in our next lesson. So we've got it started. We've got some of our grounds for laying down the feather direction and all that. And we'll probably finish it up next time. It's going pretty fast, so I think we'll finish up. I'll show you up close a little bit if I can. Let me see if I can, because it's hard to see, I know. Let's see. Okay, so can you see? Do you see all that direction? All those little strokes show when you're doing it. And it really plays into the finished piece, trust me. So we got our directions going and we got the grounds work down. All right. So let me zoom back out. And that is the beginning. That's part 1. We will come back and work on this some more next Wednesday. So I'm going to be doing the paint and chat on Wednesday and the journal on Friday for right now. What is a filbert brush, Marilyn? A filbert brush just means it's rounded on the end. All right, when you're looking at a normal brush, you've got a couple different types. You've got a brush that's flat on the end like this, okay? And then a filbert is rounded on the end. Okay, so that's the difference. And these ones I'm using are filberts. They're rounded. They don't stop in a flat point. And that's important when you're doing feathers and things, because if I use these flat ones that aren't rounded like that, you'll get very flat lines and it won't look right, because feathers don't just stop like that. They stop more in a more rounded manner. I'm trying to grab one that I could show you a little easier. Like, you can really tell this one's a filbert more. Let's see how you can tell it's rounded. It's just rounded. Okay, so that's all a filbert is. It makes a big difference though in the way the feathers will look. Okay. All right, guys, I will be back Friday with our journal. We'll start on our journal. I think I'm gonna do a vintage Paris kind of theme. I think I have enough fabric in that material to work with, so I think that's what I'm gonna do. And we'll do this on Wednesdays. So, but it may only take me the 1 week. I don't know. That's what I'm guessing. And I gotta clean up all this. All right, y'all take care. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. If you have any questions, feel free to PM me. I will answer them. All right, guys, take care. Bye-bye.